What up, everybody? Long time no vid. I know this is a bit bright, but I want to illuminate my face and my jewelry. Okay, first of all, I would like to say that I have somewhat of an unboxing, though I will not unbox. I got these, and later this. All Native American. This one was nude, so I made him a makeshift outfit. Very simple design. Like a big red diaper that would come all the way up to here. Out of felt. He already had that. She, on the other hand, just doesn't have panties. And what's interesting and noteworthy is that they both have male bodies as opposed to female being the default. So, I guess it's somewhat of an M to F, you could say, because they both have muscle. But this one is slightly more feminine, and this one was nude. I just wish that they could have taken this mold and made white bodies for a cheap teenage boy and put a head with flocked hair next to a Barbie of sort at the Dollar Tree. This is like the little girl version. And I thought she was special for being a blue-eyed Native American. Doesn't get more rare than that in dolls. That's like a blonde-haired, brown-eyed white person. So, without further ado, I would like to talk while I can, if I can, about a heavy subject. And the reason I didn't talk sooner, because I make these videos and I post them later. One of the people I'm subscribed to, Charlie Kirk, was shot and killed last Wednesday. And I've kind of been heavy-hearted and sad. But it just really hits home. You know, I mean, they tried it with President Trump. But when it's someone that I subscribed to years ago, because I agreed with his position on so many things. So many things. And it all started with something very simple. See, I'd already been agreeing with Matt Walsh, Michael Knowles, Ben Shapiro somewhat, PragerU. I've always been conservative. But a couple years ago, perhaps 2021-ish, I subscribed to Charlie Kirk because it was my birthday. And I was spending it in Texas. And I was very upset because my mom had sent me a card in the mail. And I didn't get it until the 21st or so, because they made my birthday, June 19th, into a stupid, unnecessary holiday called Juneteenth. Just 2 weeks and a day before the 4th of July. and just about 3 weeks after Memorial Day. So we didn't have enough holidays in the summer to screw up the mail at the best time of the year to order stuff, since you don't deal with the snow up north and the hurricanes quite yet. I was livid because for once this liberal ideology had affected me in a way that most people would just brush off and say, oh, well, the 21st is just as good as your birthday. So what if it happens to be your birthday? And so it delayed me going to see my mom 2 days longer because I wanted to have my card in the picture with a birthday celebration at a later date. Because if I can't be with her, I have to celebrate later on in the summer. And it sucks to have 2 different residents for your parents instead of living as one big happy family. So, I was angry that my birthday has been made into a postal holiday. My whole life, June 19th was just my effing birthday. And so I typed, why does Juneteenth have to be a national holiday? And I actually found someone who agreed with my position. And it was Charlie Kirk. And as I listened to his other videos, he instantly resonated with me on all but a few things, all but a few tiny things. There's only a few things that right-wingers say that really give me pause. And you can imagine what they are, like that all women should get married and pop out as many babies as they can, whether or not they can afford them. That abortion is murder, no matter what. And that women shouldn't have abortions for any reason. You can imagine the talking points that I don't like. But on nearly everything else that didn't have to do with women, found myself agreeing 100%. We do not need my birthday to be a national postal holiday. It's okay to remember what it is. It's okay to acknowledge it. It's okay to study it. But we should not stop the mail on my effing birthday to create another day. I mean, it ain't bad enough we have the whole month of February, Black History Month. It ain't bad enough that we have a day in January, Martin Luther King Day, where you can't get the mail. I mean, don't they have enough postal holidays? Seriously. What, New Year, Martin Luther King. I don't know about Good Friday, President's Day, Memorial Day for sure, the 4th of July, Labor Day. I don't know about Indigenous People Day anymore, but you have Thanksgiving and Christmas. So it's like, don't we have enough stupid holidays for the post office? And it just made me so angry because it's like it delays it. Because not only is it a day that the mail can't pass, it's a day that the mail stacks up from having you get backlogged with all these holidays, just like in the winter at Christmas. So I finally got my card. But I remained subscribed to Charlie Kirk because nearly everything he said, everything, resonated with me. I agreed with it almost 100%. The only thing I didn't like, as I've stated before, I didn't like the abortion talk, but, I mean, what can you expect? When you secretly see yourself as male, but you were born with the workings of a female, the reproductive organs, which thankfully I don't have anymore by the grace of God. I mean, what else can you feel? But, that's the only thing. Like I say, everything else. I thought Charlie was right on, just like Matt Walsh. And I would have voted for him for president with Matt Walsh as a running mate, or Michael Knowles, or vice versa. Wouldn't matter. I would have voted for any one of those guys. So, that's how I found out about Charlie Kirk. And, I totally agreed, that we shouldn't have, my birthday as a national holiday. We shouldn't have this other national anthem. This was around the time they were kneeling. And my dad quit watching pro football. This Colin Kaepernick or whatever. Kneeling during the anthem. And, they shouldn't have that. I mean, some crapping song, Lift Up Your Voice and Sing. That's devoid of any meaning. That's not our American national anthem. And so, yeah, I agreed with Charlie Kirk. And when I found out he had died the day before, the eve of 9/11, I was shocked. Because he's a year younger than my sister, my baby sister. In fact, I have a little cousin younger than her that's about his age. And when I found that out, I'm like, what? Charlie Kirk, he was young. And it's just like that when you read the obituary and you see all these old farts, 90 years old, great-great-grandchildren. But then you'll see this one young person. And it just leaves you heavy-hearted and sad. Because people are not supposed to die who were born in 1993. People aren't supposed to die at what? He was going to be 32. 31. People aren't supposed to die young like that. And you realize this unforgettable year, 97. In that year, he was still 3 years old. When I was in 7th grade. In fact, he was 2.5 at the beginning. He was a toddler when I was in middle school or junior high. So, yeah, it's got me heavy-hearted and sad. And it's unbelievable because the killer, I mean, he's a child to me. He's a kid. Only 22 years old. Oh my God. You realize it's been 17 years since Hurricane Ike and 20 since Katrina and Rita. So this 22-year-old kid was a baby during Hurricane Rita, and a 3-year-old during Hurricane Ike, something like that. No, Hurricane Katrina and Rita. So he was born we're 2025, so a 22-year-old born in 2003. Yeah, he was 2 years old. 2 years old during Hurricane Rita. And 5 years old 3 years later in Hurricane Ike. Yeah, something like that. So a kindergartner during Hurricane Ike is responsible for this. Shooting Charlie Kirk. And I was, before the mom deleted, within minutes, she deleted her Facebook. When they found him and I started researching or stalking his family. And she had pictures going all the way back to when they were little bitty boys, him and his brothers. And it's oh my God, this kid is responsible. And it's how is that not painful to jump off of that building like that? Why would anybody do that? Wasn't it hot wearing black winter clothes in the summer? Because that's what September is for 3 weeks. So it's depressing as can be that someone I subscribe to someone 10 years younger than I am, is now dead for beliefs that I agreed with almost 100%.